and gentlemen, boys and girls, take your seats. The show is about to begin. Please clap, cheer, stomp your feet, and make some noise.
Behind the Culture with RIX Magazine and Never Write Stop. Here's your host,
Stephanie Agrello
and Will Chase.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Behind the Culture. I am one of your hosts today, filling in for Will, Dan Mendez from Overtake Media.
And I'm Stephanie with RIX Magazine. This podcast is sponsored by Wheel Pros, XPEL, RT Auto, Marco & Sons Tires, 506 Wraps, MVM Illusions, and Rare JDM Parts.
And my name is Mark. They call me the Skyline King. And I'm here with the R34 livery of the Paul Walker car.
Awesome. Why do they call you the Skyline King, first and foremost? I know you have a Skyline.
Yeah,
You have the Skyline.
So I started a long time ago, before Skylines were even a thing, and I bought my first one back when I was 21 years old. And since I got my first one, I got like addicted, and I just started kept buying more and more Skylines. Now I have over 10 Skylines.
10 Skylines.
10 Skylines.
That's a great addiction.
How does one accumulate 10 Skylines? Because I personally would like to know.
I mean, some of them I had imported. Some of them were brought in by a company called Motorex in California that actually, they were one of the first people to be able to bring in these cars, and they'd, have to make them DOT approved. And I have a couple of those cars. They only did maybe, I would say, about 50 total Skylines, and I have 2 of the 50. Just from all over the internet, I go all over the country for these cars, and I just built my collection up.
Okay, so is this collection just for personal use, or is it for something more?
So, really, I don't really do too much of stocks, or I don't do that cryptocurrency like everyone's doing. I like to have a physical asset, so I thought, might as well, buy a Skyline, put my money into that, and it's a safe investment. And I mean, it really paid off now, because now these cars are, going for crazy money. Some of them are bringing well over 200,000 now, and the market has been just on the rise with these cars. So I'm actually glad I bought these cars such a long time ago, because I got a great deal on a lot of these cars.
Yeah.
So, do you only have R34s?
So I have 3 R34s. I actually just sold one of my R34s to a friend of mine, because he wanted a Skyline, and I was like, you know what? I have already so many of them. I'll sell one to my friend. So, but I have 3 R34s. I have 4 R32s, and I have about 6 R33s, and they're all GTRs. And I have a couple other JDM toys. I have a couple JDM mini trucks. I have the S15 Sylvia, which is a drift car, and it's a spec R. And a lot of my cars have really low mileage, so they're in amazing shape.
You have so many of them, you could probably divvy up all the fun miles.
Yeah, right. Like a different car every day, of the week. So it's it's fun. I really do it. I go to car shows. It makes a lot of people happy when I bring these cars out, especially since you don't see them, every day. So, it really, I like making people happy when they see these cars, and that's kind of what brings me joy.
That's a good reason, I think, to have this passion.
So, Mark, we actually found out a couple of episodes ago, not a lot of people know what Fast and Furious is. Mm-hmm. My co-host, who actually couldn't be here today because his flight got delayed, didn't know what this beautiful Eclipse was.
Oh my God.
So why don't you tell us more about the my future Skyline that nobody knows I'm taking?
So basically, in the first Fast and the Furious, they brought this Eclipse out, and I mean, that was like the pride of like the 90s, you know, a turboed Eclipse. They were really fast, they were light, so they used that car for the movie. And then, you know, towards the end of the first Fast and Furious, they reveal you know, the R34. He's you know, Paul Walker's running from the cops, and he goes and buys this, you know, R34 in the junkyard, and he's making his way to, you know, I think Florida, yeah, from like Cali to Miami, and you know, that's where Fast and the Furious, you know, revealed, you know, the R34, and that's, you know, where it all started, especially for me, because when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I love that car, you know, I need to get one.
I fell in love with it right as soon as I saw it. I was like, that's the car.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things, like it's between like the taillights and, you know, using this car in multiple video games, you know, the R34 has gotten so popular, and like now it's just like, you know, it's even hard for me to get them in Japan, and I mean, I'm just glad I have the ones I have.
Right.
Well, that was one of my questions, was I'm seeing so many of these imported now, not just Skylines, Supras. I've seen like S2000s being imported. Like, how is that affecting exactly the market? I know it's bringing it up.
Okay,
as you just
so
explained.
basically, with certain cars, you know, that are getting brought in, like the Supras, they're right-hand drive. They're a little bit cheaper than the USDM cars, but it is driving the price up, because they're not, by the time they get imported, you buy them in Japan for say 30-40 grand, by the time you get it here, it's still almost 50, 60 grand by the time you pay taxes and all that. So you know, with that being said, they just keep going up. So when they go up, since they're going up in Japan, they're going up here as well, because by the time it gets here, it's more expensive. So, and that also drives like the USDM prices of the Supras up, because the USDMs are a little more, you know, they didn't make as many of those as right-hand drives. So, you know, now that you'll start seeing the US Supras, especially the twin turbos, going, you know, with low miles, well over 100,000 nowadays. So
I mean, it's any JDM car, it's RX-7s,
everything,
you know,
S2000s. I mean, the JDM market, what I actually think what's happening is all these kids nowadays are, you know, getting these, you know, high profile jobs working for Amazon, Apple, and a lot of them are making well over 100,000. So, you know, the kids nowadays they're not like, they might want a Lambo, but they're not going for the Lambo. They want to go and get their dream car, which is usually a Skyline, a Supra, or something JDM. So, you know, there's a big demand for these cars, and
well, it's a movie car. I mean, before Fast and the Furious, it was like Dukes of Hazzard. Like,
no one
wanted
knew.
one of those challenges. So, like, that's my whole thing of looking at it, is like, these cars are so special because they're in a movie, you know. And yeah, you have yours all liveried up, and that's great. But even just a normal stock one, people like go nuts over, because it's from the movie. It's, you know, for some reason they picked it to be in the movie, and it made it famous. I mean, if you go to Japan, it's quite crazy to see how they treat some of these cars. Like,
it's sad, actually. You know, they really don't like. I mean, they treat these Skylines, well, now they're treating them like, you know, prized possessions. But you know, when I was involved and I was getting these cars from Japan, I mean, they were treated like a Nissan Altima.
Well, you see videos.
But that's how it is over here. We treat them like that. But then when it comes to a GTR, we treat those like gold, you know?
I mean, you see videos from like Ebisu, and like you have like parking lots full of like these crazy cars. They're like, he would pay like 30 grand easy for one of those.
But the thing about this is all those cars that have been sitting outside in Japan have so many rust issues. A lot of them, the frames are rotted out. So now those cars are basically destroyed, which now all the Skylines keep going up, because really the ones that are left in Japan are either horrible or museum quality, and there's no like really in betweens. Like, for instance, I'm in the market to buy a midnight purple R34. just because they made a limited amount, and
Those
I
are
mean,
crazy.
I
Those
love
are
the
my
color.
favorite.
I love
The
that
color's
color
beautiful.
shift. Oh,
Shout out
it's
to
amazing.
Adam LZ.
Yeah, Adam LZ.
Yeah.
He's in my R34 club. And I mean, he has one. My friend C. Kane has one on Instagram. But yeah, I've been looking for one of these cars, and the other day, 2 weeks ago, I was at the Japanese auction on the internet, and I saw one come up, and it said it had, minor rust issues. The car probably needed to get repainted. I mean, it needed work, and I was like, oh, let me see what it goes for. Maybe I could pick it up for under $100,000. The car went way over 100, and the car was almost completely rusted. So after seeing that, I was like, what's going on? Like, this is like insane now. So now it's like, I'm starting to see like the prices. I would say every 2 weeks, these cars are going up at a couple thousand by the week. It's insane.
Now, you said you have an R34 club. Tell us more about that.
So it's a bunch of us that are on social media that have R34s, and there's about maybe 20 of us that have an R34. So we basically, it's like a little Facebook family. If we need parts or we need help with something, we go on there, and usually someone knows the answer.
And they're all here, or
they're all here in the United States. Some are overseas.
Okay.
And go back and forth, from the States. But I mean, it's really a good connection to be part of that club, because I mean, I bought a bunch of stuff just from some of the guys. Like, I bought seats, I bought rims, a bunch of stuff, and it's pretty cool because everyone is takes care of each other.
Right.
So if, say we need this rare part. And now, like, Nissan's starting to discontinue a lot of these R34 parts. So, if we need some odds and end, like hose or whatever, I could guarantee you one of these guys in my club will probably have it. So it's
I know that's been a problem all through the JDM community. Is like people hoarding parts or just not having parts available for them.
Yeah. There's only one guy I know that hoards Skyline parts, and if you're watching this, Mike Suduth and the brothers, there's these two brothers, Mike Suduth, I call them the Suduth brothers, and they have two R34s. Each one has an R34, and I mean, these guys hoard so many parts. But I mean, it's nice because, like, when I do need something, they have it. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it's just wild, some of the stuff they have, but that's all part of this family, that we established on Facebook. And I mean, I met a lot of great people owning this R34, and that's like probably something that I really like about the cars, because it really opens the doors to like so many people. Right. And
well, that goes with any car.
Yeah.
BMWs have a big family, Subarus have a huge family. Don't get started on Hondas.
Honda, forget it.
It's something that brings you together, and I think especially for like JDM, you are together with the Skylines, but you're also together with the Supras and the guys with the Eclipse. It's very interchangeable.
Yeah, I really like the car community now. I remember back in the day, it used to be really, like the thing, hook up your car, go to car shows. And then like this whole COVID thing, I mean, really like died, and like people are like really trying to save the culture. And I mean, besides like, other meets ruining and making the car scene look bad, like doing stupid things, in the middle of the street, so now, the cops are always like shutting you down, which it never used to be like that back in the day.
I mean, you can't even blame them, with what's going on. I just think the car culture right now is it's in a very bittersweet place, where I think a lot of normal people are actually getting into cars, which is very exciting to see. Because before it was just people that like wanted to be engineers, people that wanted to work on cars. Now you see like normal people, wanting to get a WRX.
Hey, Dan, what is normal people?
Well, I'm not normal, so I wouldn't.
I have no idea what that means.
Well, no, I mean, I meet people that, don't know anything about cars, but they want a specific car. They don't know why. They just like the look. They like the way it sounds. They want to be part of maybe that community. So I think now it's in a really good place with that. But also we have that negativity of shutting down streets and just being dangerous and reckless. It's not.
Well, we always had street racing.
Right.
Yeah.
We always had street. But now it's just getting worse and worse. And now they're taking over parking lots and doing these donuts and everything. And
People are getting hurt. I seen a bunch of people get hit.
in less than
Killed.
a year.
Killed.
Yeah.
I was there that night. Actually, I was leaving that event when they were doing some semi was doing a donut in a warehouse
ran over
ran over that kid. I actually was there. I left like 20 minutes before that happened. Thank God. Because I would have not have liked to see that. But I mean, like they're jumping on the back of the truck like while it's doing a donut. Like, come on, people! Like if you're gonna do something like stupid or you want to go in like an open parking lot, stay far back. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing as I see is we've always had street racing, like you said, but I think it's always sort of come with like this purpose. Like people have always like drag raced because there was no way to do it safely, and then they started making dragways, and I don't know, maybe it went down, I don't know, but then people had a place to go do that thing. Drifting started that way too. People just drifted mountain roads and shit. But now we have drift days where people go and they drift their car. You'll drift your drift missile or your like semi brand new 86. It's like a thing you can do. But the reason why this is different is because we have all these things. We have track days, we have drift days, we have drag days. They still choose to do it.
Well, I think they still choose to do it because they don't have to pay for it.
Right.
They just do it for free.
Right. And it's right there. They don't have to drive an hour.
Right. And I don't think they realize, like, for example, like the difference between a car meet and a car show. Car shows, yeah, you do have to pay for it, but guess what? You're not getting kicked out. Car meets, I hate this. Whenever you go to a car meet and it's like, oh, you're parking lot at Walmart. 5 minutes later, nope, we're going back to Target.
Yeah.
And you're like running from the cops.
Yeah.
Why?
I follow a lot of people. They have great cars, so I follow them, but that's all they post about is the next stop. And I'm like, obviously
you're like not even 5 minutes into that parking lot and you're already moving.
Right.
Yeah, because they ruined. I mean, like they really have to just kind of tone it down with, doing the stupid shit.
Right.
And I think they have to try to start saving the culture because when I was young, I mean, it was great. Like no cop would ever shut down a car meet. You could have one at Dunkin' Donuts and the cops wouldn't even care. Now they see a car meet, they thinking you're doing something stupid, and
or there's a possibility of that happening.
Possibility. People doing burnouts when they're leaving. So.
And that affects venues too. We have experience at RIX and at Never Ride Stock of, talking to venues and stuff, and they're interested. They're interested in the opportunity, but they're worried about what could happen. They're worried about, well, yeah, you guys are gonna have donuts, you guys are gonna have two-step during that time, but what happens after the show, you don't have no control over.
Right.
And a lot of times the venue's good, but the town's not. So it goes beyond just, oh yeah, we screwed up traffic for a couple hours.
And then not only that, but you could set the rules saying, don't two-step in the line, don't do this. But then you'll have that one person, and then it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
And you can't control it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's something we have wanted to talk about on the podcast, so I'm glad you brought it up.
And I'm glad that now, RIX Magazine is doing this car show at American Dream because now, it's safe. I know, my car is gonna be, safe there. It's not gonna be getting hit into from someone doing a burnout or anything. Yeah. And plus, there's gonna be a ton of nice cars, and especially at the American Dream, this facility is huge. So I could only imagine what's gonna come to this event. And then plus the sneakers and then plus the concert that's going on. This is gonna be the event of the year. And that's why when I got the call, hey, you wanna bring the Skyline? I was like, hell yeah. Anything I could do to bring more love to, this show, I'm in,
Right. Well, we appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was not scripted. That was awesome. You want a job? We need a promoter.
Yeah, I had to throw that one out there for my man Rico.
I appreciate it. He's gonna love that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's. Yeah. See him. Yeah. Oh man. So So this car, right? It's got delivery. How accurate is it? Because I'm a phone
All right,
person.
so basically,
We have two also
yeah.
here, so you got to tell us now that you're here.
The thing with delivery is in the movie they painted it.
Right.
It wasn't decals. So now, like, you know, years down the line, like, people have tried to make the kit. And, you know, this kit here, I mean, this was as close as I could possibly get it. You know, it's pretty close, but not exact, you know. I really didn't go like exact like this Eclipse behind me.
Right.
Just because, you know, I was just like, you know, this is just for fun. You know, I liked the kit from, like, if you really didn't know, you know, like if you weren't like in front of the movie screen comparing the two,
right.
you wouldn't even really know.
Well, no one's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But you have to understand that this is now nearly 20 years later.
I know.
You know, so the cars, I mean, that's a very, very good replica. But this, I feel, is a bit more practical to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would drive this every day.
Yeah.
This is a bit more of a special car.
And that's what I do. It's like, this is the car I drive around like almost daily, more than all the other ones, just because it's just easier to drive. This one has a little higher of miles, so I call it my driver.
There you go.
Because the other ones do have like extremely low miles. Like my one R34 has 3,000 original kilometers. So
Kilometers.
Wow. So I think that's like 15 or 1,600 miles. And the car was never driven. And you know, I got the car. That was like my second Skyline getting. I was probably about like 20 in my late. My late 20s when I got that car. Wow. And I mean, I built that car ground up because I got the car with no engine because it was blown on the track. The guy, he bought it brand new, brought it into the country. He only used it for the like track days and stuff, and he built it and ended up blowing the engine. You know, that first year of him on the track with it, and then it sat in a warehouse, in the back of a warehouse. You would have never even known the car was there. And then, you know, I found out about the car, of course, and, you know, I bugged this guy for months, and I ended up, you know, he was like, all right, you know, I'll sell you the car, and, you know, I ended up buying the car and, you know, putting it back to life. And
that's awesome.
You know, that's why it has the low miles. It like literally just sat for years in a warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And it's like you said, nobody's gonna know if it's like an actual replica of the movie.
Yeah.
You were telling us when you got here that people were trying to stop you.
The whole way, even coming here for this podcast on the highway, I mean, I have people out their windows with cameras. So like, also driving with this thing, I have to drive it kind of with respect because I'm like watching everyone else because they're hanging out the window with their cameras swerving.
And that's every
like,
day for you.
Yeah, every day. It's like people like tell me to stop. I really don't like the fame, you know. I've been very low key. That's why like now, like this year, I've been doing more things on social media. And, you know, people are like, oh my God, you had another Skyline at the other show. Now people are like starting to realize like, oh, this guy has a lot of Skylines. Now I'm like, you know, Bring a Trailer is said something about me because last week I bought another Skyline and I bought a twin turbo Supra.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Time out. What do you do for a living? Are they hiring?
So yeah, you know, when I was younger, I just did a lot of you know, good investments, and you know, I saved my money. I really, you know, when I was younger, I had great jobs, and you know, I worked as a pharmacy technician. I worked in the city. When I was 18, my senior year of high school, I was working in the city at a restaurant Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was making great money. And all I did was save my money for like 10 years. I just saved almost all my money, and then I was just like, you know what? I want to invest it, and that's how I bred
that's how you
this.
do it. That's how you gotta start.
I'm gonna go to New York and apply to a couple of restaurants now.
I mean, I like when I was working, I mean, New York City is the spot if you want to make some good money, you know, serving tables. I was 18 years old making working Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was walking out every weekend with, I would say, at least almost $2,000 in cash.
Wow.
So
That's only working 3 days.
Yeah, it's only working 3 days, and I did that for how many years? You know, I did it through high school, you know, through the beginning years of college, and all that money, I just saved it. I just
Well, I mean,
put
not
it
for
all
nothing,
away.
but if you think about it, you know, do those 3 days 52 times a year for 10 years. That's a lot of money.
And that's
if you
what-
don't spend it, if you put it aside.
And you put it aside. That's why I try, like, you know, I have a younger brother, and I tell him, you know, if say you make $1,000, put 700 of that, put it away in a safe, and just forget about it, and just keep doing it religiously, like. And next thing you know, you look and you're like, holy God, I got, you know, almost $500,000.
So that a lot of people are waking up to that. Well, you know, if I just save this, you know, it will be worth more in the future. You know, because first of all, you're going to be more mature to figure out like what you want to do with the money. And then secondly, you know, especially if you put it in a bank account or something, it'll mature itself. So I think, I mean, as I get older, I know a lot of more people are talking about that or wishing they've done that. You know, and cryptocurrency now is a big thing.
Forget
too.
it. It's now that's also driving a rise to all these JDM cars, because all the people that are doing this cryptocurrency
Are people that would buy JDM cars.
would buy JDM cars, and that's what's going on. These kids that had nothing now are having, you know, $500,000, and they're like, I want my dream car, like, and they get a Skyline or a Supra or something.
Who wouldn't?
JDM.
I would.
Yeah. Right?
I know she would. I know she's eyeing that one. She's like,
You know what? I have the keys right
Dogecoin.
here. I'm trying to
praying.
figure out how to like sneak them out. It's okay. It looks kind of like my Kia.
yeah.
It's fine. You won't even notice.
So I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about these wheels, bro. Why are these wheels?
Wheels, bro.
Actually, these wheels came with the car.
CCW.
The CCWs, and I kind of liked them. I was like, you know what, I like them. I am in the works of trying to get the actual the rims from the Too Fast, Too Furious
From the actual
car. They have to get like specially made in Japan. I know there's a couple sets in Japan, but they're probably like big money now. So.
Now, it's gonna sound really stupid. Is this the all-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive?
This is a rear-wheel drive. So
This is a Skyline, but not the GTR.
GTR.
Okay, cool.
So, you know, this one, I actually like the rear wheel drive. The all wheel drive one, like the one that I have that's at my house, you know, the all wheel drive ones are a little more solid, while the rear wheel drive ones you could toss around, you could drift it.
Right.
It's like, it's a little more fun to me. Because it feels lighter and I could throw it around a little more.
Yeah. Is this a square setup or is it meter in the back?
It's almost square. Almost square. It's a little cambered in the back.
Okay.
I don't go too crazy on the camber just because of tire wear and, you know, drivability.
Well,
and
you
stuff.
daily drive it.
Yeah,
so
and
you
I
don't
daily
wanna...
drive it, so.
I'm thinking of ways to steal this car. I'm sorry. Like, I just can't stop staring at it. I'm like, it looks like I'm looking at you, but in reality, I'm just like looking at him. I'm like, yeah. You talk.
When you pulled up, she almost started crying.
I did.
I
As soon
did
as
the
I heard
two-step.
it.
I did the two-step, and I was like, boop, boop,
So
boop, boop,
everybody was talking, and I heard like
The
loud
turbo?
noise. Loud noise, and I was like, oh, that's him. So I ran out, and it was an Evo, and I'm like, damn it. Okay, I come back inside. As soon as I come inside, I hear the two-step. I was like, that's definitely him. I opened the door. I was like, he's here.
Yeah. She told me, she's like, I feel like I'm meeting someone famous. Like,
And it's just
you've never
the
seen this
car.
person in your life. She's like, I'm talking about the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean it is
And he's
very,
like-
very nice.
Yeah, Dan was looking at me. He's like,
Yeah, I was like, do you want me to film it for you so you don't have to worry about this? But
yeah, the only difference with the GTTs and the GTRs, the GTRs have a little bit wider rear, like a fender flare.
I'm noticing that the rear has less of a flare.
Less of a flare, but other than that, it's the same frame. You know, it's really the same car, it's just single turbo instead of, you know, twin turbo. But I mean, you can make the same power with these. The RB25s are, just as good as the RB26s. They're really the same, almost the same engine, besides like a couple like details with like cooling.
So I'm guessing you're an RB person.
Yes.
Rather than a Jay-Z person.
Yeah.
They're a very rare breed. Everyone seems to be for Jay-Z's now.
2 Jay-Z's, yeah.
I'm an RB kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't mind a Jay-Z. I don't mind that. But there's something about RBs. I can't put my finger on it.
I don't know. I think it's like the sound. I think they're like a little more throatier than a 2 Jay-Z. It just has that sound, like you hear it and oh, that's a Skyline, and then like you can hear a 2J and be like, oh, that's like a Supra. You could actually tell the difference.
An RB30 swapped E92 drift car from Australia, and it revs to like 10K. It's the most amazing sound I've ever heard. Yeah, the Australians like their RB30s. They come out of these patrols. Yeah.
Well, they use the bottom end of a patrol and an RB25 head.
Right.
And it kind of like is like almost like a Frankenstein kind of engine. But I mean, they make crazy power. But a friend of mine has an RB30 swapped R34, and just in customization and fabrication to get it to work was intense. Like, I mean, they had to make an engine mount that would lower the engine a little more because the RB30s sit really high. Right. So they had to make a custom bracket for that.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, who's that?
Let's
put him on speaker.
Hey, Will.
Hi, Will.
What up? The RIX team, where you guys at?
I'm keeping your seat warm, Will.
So we have a surprise for you, Will.
Tell me. I just got off the plane.
You see my car, right? You see how pretty it is?
Yeah, but
fire.
But now look.
That looked like. Oh!
You're missing out.
We went from toy to the real deal.
It sucks that you're not here. Did you get off your plane already?
Yeah. Landed. I'm at my location. I can't wait to see you guys. I mean, that is fire.
Well, I know we're meeting you, but
if you really want to see it, I'll come meet you right now.
That would be amazing, man. Swing by. I see you guys at the location, but man, I mean, oh my God, this is.
But you know this car, right? This car was also in Fast and Furious. I don't know if you know that too.
Say that again?
This one was also in the Fast and Furious movie, not like,
Of course I know. Are you kidding me? Look, move. I want to see the green with the
the green.
The green.
All right. So for our audience out there.
So we will see you then in, I say, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
For our audience, it'll be a couple seconds.
Okay. Bye,
Will.
See ya.
For everyone listening, this is going to get off the rails because Will has finally become available for us. We're going to take the Skyline out for a couple rolling shots via me, hang out my car.
Can I ask for a question?
Sure.
Like a favor? Can I have the honor of sitting in the passenger seat?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I would ask to drive it, but I know you'll say no.
I think that's going to be break for us. I think we're going to take an ad break real quick, and then we'll be right back.
All right, cool.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite producer Dan here. Hope you guys are enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, XBell, RT Auto, Wheel Pros, Marcos & Sons Tires, 506 Wraps, MVM Illusions, and Rare JDM Parts. We want to thank every one of them for allowing us to do this podcast. Without them, it's not really possible. So thank you so much. I also want to thank Mark for stopping by with this awesome R34 and talking about his other Skylines and stuff like that. It was a great interview. This is where the episode gets a little bit weird. We weren't able to continue at RT Auto. Nothing bad or anything like that. We just didn't have time to finish the podcast at RT Auto Lounge. which is fine. We want to thank Tiago for having us there the time we were there when we interviewed him, as well as this episode. We really, really appreciate his support. Of course, again, that's RT Auto Center and RT Auto Lounge. We really appreciate Tiago's help with the podcast thus far, and we look forward to working with him more in the future. But we weren't able to cap off the podcast. We always try to do a solid hour for you guys. So we ended up just going to get rolling shots, some photos, and Will met us at the American Dream, where our Tokyo meet is going to be May 30th, just a couple days from now, from recording this anyway. And it was great. It was a lot of fun, but not great circumstances for finishing a podcast, not great audio. So we decided to finish recording on a separate day. For you video people that are watching the podcast, you'll notice that Mark is wearing a different shirt and everything. It's a completely different day. We finished it off at our official studio space, which is really where we should be doing a lot more of these, just because of the audio quality. We have the ability to live switch. It's awesome. So we finished it off on a completely different day. We want to thank Mark once again for stopping by twice to do one podcast. He was really awesome for it. And we really liked having him, and we really want to get him on again to talk more about car culture, JDM culture, anything really, honestly. He's a fun guy to talk with. Without further ado, I'll leave you to Will, who will take over the episode from here on in. Unfortunately, because it was a second day, Stephanie was unable to make it. She thought she would be, but she wasn't. Totally understandable, totally fine. But Will was. So she hosted the first half with me, as you just saw, and Will finished off the podcast with Mark. That's about it. I'll leave you with Will for the second half of the podcast. Without further ado, back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody. Mark, it was great meeting you at the American Dream. I think we parked your car exactly where you're going to be at the car show, or somewhere near. It was amazing. You driving away, hearing the engine was just unbelievable. And it was just a unique experience. Right before that, I wasn't able to make it to RT Auto at Tiago's spot. But you were there and parked next to the Eclipse.
Yeah.
Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, parking those two cars next to each other, get that, shot,
You guys never met before that, right?
No, I haven't. A friend of mine actually built that Eclipse, and
Nice.
And I was actually going to buy the car, but at the time, I was in the process of buying a couple other Skylines, and I ended up not buying it, and the guys, my friend, sold it to Tiago, and then I was like, oh my God, it's the same car, and I mean, that thing is like a spot-on replica. Like, literally, I don't think there's not one flaw in it from,
So how long
being
ago was
exact. That was about like a year ago. And
Okay,
then,
okay.
So Tiago's had that car for some time.
Nice.
But supposedly, my friend Chris that built the car wants to buy it back from Tiago, but I don't think Tiago wants to sell that thing, especially with the movie coming out. That's kind of like a little cool gem,
If Chris comes with the right dollar, Tiago just might.
Yeah.
It's like the housing market right now, It's just everything is booming
It's
up.
booming.
Yeah.
Even with the Skyline prices, it's crazy. In Japan, it's just, I was just looking yesterday, and I was trying to bid on some stuff, and stuff is just going out of control, and it's just like, I'm like, oh my God, it's like.
How many you have now?
Now is about it's gonna be 10.
10.
10, and that's just Skylines, and there's the other little JDM things that I have. I have like the little Japanese mini trucks. I have an S15 Sylvia.
So what do you do? Like, you just wake up in the morning and say, I feel like driving this one.
Yeah,
They all drive kind of. I guess it's like a vibe. How do you feel from the color?
Yeah, if I want something fast, or if I want to just cruise, But yeah.
Which one you taking the ladies out in?
Yeah, which one, it's just a two-seater because the two of the Skylines have roll half cages in it, so I can't take passengers. It's only two-seater, so that's always like, oh, my friends always want to come and be like, oh, I want to come to the car meet, so I have to bring something that could fit everybody. So
nice.
But I drive all the cars like pretty evenly. I try to take them all out. At least once a month, just to get the fluids going.
Yeah. If it sits too long, it goes bad.
Yeah.
Nice. What so I know we spoke briefly at the American Dream. It started as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
And now it's turned into a full-flown like business where
started a dealership with my father, and
how long ago was that?
That's probably, I would say at least 2005.
Okay.
So, it's going on some time, and really just started I was buying and selling cars out of the house, and then my mother was, oh, you can't be, because Craigslist was the thing back then, and, I'd just post something on Craigslist and have, a random person come to, the house to look at the car. So my mom was used
freaked
to
out.
hate.
And then the news will put Craigslist killer.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So she was like, oh, you guys gotta, do it somewhere else. So we were just like, we should get, license. We do everything legally and,
Nice. So did 2020 treat you guys well? Like, because a lot of companies went out of business.
So, with that, being said, right at like the height of COVID, when everyone really didn't know like so much about it, there was a kind of like maybe 3 or 4 slow months. And then, then winter hit. Of course, winter's always slow. And then now it like started picking up. Now it's like insane now. Now it's just like everyone wants to spend money, buy a car. A lot of people are using, their, the Trump relief fund,
The relief fund, COVID relief fund, or whatever.
Relief fund, yeah. So, people are using that for down deposits on, cars. So just more cars are like selling now, and it's
a lot of dealerships it's there's a lot that goes into it, but like a lot of new car dealerships. I went to Chevy, and they were like 2 years behind on the Corvette. It was like nuts, but that has to do with the plants being down and production and all that other stuff. That is kind of crazy. So the used car market skyrocketed because there's a need where like, okay, well, if I can't get a new one, people going to the used. So now the dealerships are bumping them up. Mm-hmm. But you're very fair. Right?
Yeah. So I really try to keep all my clients like, super happy, where, I'm like, listen, this is what I bought the car. This is my fee for getting you the car. You're getting the car for, $10,000 cheaper than retail. So, they're happy, and...
Do you find that that's helping your business blow up?
Yeah, definitely, because people are like, yo, go to this guy. No one gets his price. Like, he's like the cheapest anywhere, and it's, a good car with low miles. So, I'm about like, giving people good deals because... like they say, it's more, you make more money on volume than sitting on something and asking, trying to make $5,000-$6,000,
Crazy numbers on one versus doing 10 and, you know what I mean? Yeah. Flipping it. I kind of operate my business in that sense too. There's people in my industry where for the same service, they charge like double, but they only do it like once a month, where I'm knocking out 5-6 on a weekend, right? So I think you and I operate the same way. What would you say is your best advice to the car industry, the people behind the culture, that are, because I would like to think and say that most people in this industry are ambitious because it's a creative industry, right? You want to do things that belong to you, right? Like you customize something, which is us at Never Write Stock, and we represent in collaboration with RIX Magazine. You want to do things that is, to what's yours and make it you, right? So that takes a creative mind. And being creative, there's a certain sense of like ambition, right? And usually when you have that type of ambition, you're always trying to have like a hustle. So I'm trying to connect the dots for everybody, right? So when you connect those dots and you have that hustle, what would you say as a business owner at a very young age, started many years ago, went through the ups and downs? I mean, 2005, that means you went through the '08 bubble, the collapse there, Corona with COVID, and you guys are booming better than ever. When we were talking before, you said that, I mean, there's times where you can't even handle what's coming in, right? You need like more staff. What would you say is your best advice to the car culture and the people that want to hustle and become business owners and thinking about doing their own thing with their creative minds?
What I would suggest, like with this business, you can't just do like every car. Like my niche is Skylines and JDM things.
That makes
sense.
sense.
So once you find like your niche, like if your niche is say Hondas, and that's your niche, you stick with that niche. So you learn kind of like what that car's worth or what it's worth with like a B16 engine or a B18.
You become
engine.
the expert in that.
In that field, then you could grow. Once you you really get the hang of things, then you could start going to say Integra Type R's and RX-7s and things like that, Evos and other JDM cars. So really is if you really want to start like selling cars, because tell you the truth, there's a lot of money in cars and people don't really see it, because sometimes people are desperate for money and need to sell their car quick, and you're the one with the cash, like you could get a good deal. And say sometimes the car might only need brakes or tires or a detail, and then you could do those minor things, clean it up, post it right back up on the internet, and boom, you can make between 1,000 to all the way 3,000 on a Honda. And that's really how I started. Was I was started with cheaper Hondas, and I used to sell like bubbles with Type R engines and Civic 99 2000 Civic SIs and S2000s, and I stuck with Honda for a couple years, and then I was like, what, I like the whole JDM thing, and then I went to like Evos and Subarus, and then that evolved to Skylines, and it just kept growing.
So so what I'm hearing is become an expert in whatever it is that you do. Could be cars, could be something else, right? Because there's certain people that are in the car culture, but may not necessarily sell cars. So like we at Never Write Stock, we have a guy who started his own. His name is Buster. Shout out to Buster. His own like first aid kit for cars, where it's like a cleaning. I think you've seen it, right? It's like in a Ziploc bag design, where it's a cleaning kit for cars, and that's amazing, right? So he doesn't necessarily have to sell a car, although he loves the car industry, but he came with his creative mind and said, let me create something different. And it's he just launched it. It's groundbreaking. It's a great quality product at a very good rate, and I can only see that growing from that to something bigger and better. So for those that are listening, Mark is basically saying, be an expert in whatever it is that you want to do your homework, right? And all those other things.
It's like a niche thing. If that's like your niche, you gotta stay with.
And
your
never
niche.
give up.
And never give up. Like
I'm sure you wanted to quit 1,000 times.
Of course, there's been a lot of hit and miss things, and I was actually on my ride here. I was actually talking to my friend, and And we were talking about, like, if you don't try something, you'll never know if it's a win or a loss. Like, you have to try it, because if you don't try it, then you're never gonna know. You could fail 10 times and win once, and when you win that one time, it changes your life.
Literally. I always say it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. Some people will look at you and say, wow, he has 10 Skylines. They don't know your grind. They don't know it took 20 years for that to happen. Yeah. Right? It didn't happen. You didn't buy it yesterday.
And it's not like I, find these cars in New Jersey or local. I go places. I go to Cali. I go to Colorado for these cars. Texas. All over the United States. So, like, and it's a lot of work, like, I have to go, get there, fly there, transport the car back or put it on a transporter, and it's just, there's a lot more to it than just like, buying a car.
What people see on the outside, on the surface. Yeah. And that's the grit, that's the grind, that's the never give up, that's the try it, because if you don't, you never know if it's going to work out.
There's times I've flown to Texas, seen a car and not liked it and had to fly back.
Wow.
And got nothing, and spent, $1,500 on, back and forth between hotels and car rental and stuff. And I walked out with an L, but, it happens. Like, you can't just be like, oh, it didn't work out, I'm done with this. Like, that, excuse my but beep. But you have to just keep hustling. You can't quit. That's the thing. People will do something once and then it doesn't work out, and then they're like, you know what, forget this, and don't keep going at it. And you just have to keep going. You have to keep hustling.
Powerful. Very, very powerful. The conversation about the business is amazing. I think it's key, because when people listen to this podcast and think about what's going on behind the culture, they're looking for food. They're looking for something that's going to fulfill them. And one of those things is us making money, right? Like hustling. So hearing it from all walks of life, like yourself, myself, and anyone that we speak to, is, I believe, one word can change anyone's life. I want to transition into, obviously the Skyline, which you brought to the location to be side by side with another Fast and Furious car, which the movie's coming out. I think it's going to be one of the best movies that come out this year. Mm-hmm. And I have a question in regards to that for you. But before that, I remember when I was hooking up my Ultima, I showed you 2 magazines that I was in. I had a funny story around the security behind that. I mean, you have 10 Skylines. What do you do? What's your fear? Because I remember back in the day, it was so crazy. Like, car theft was so nuts that they even had a show based out of Newark. Because for some reason, no matter where you stole a car in the Northeast, it ended up in Newark.
Ended
up in Newark. It was bananas. So obviously, TV show, I forgot what.
Bait car.
They're like, yo, this is a hit. Let's create Bait car. And the stories are hilarious. I mean, they had it on lockdown. For those that never watched Bait car, I mean, they would bait a car. They would leave the car on and go into the supermarket. Obviously, the cops are waiting. Somebody walking by, a fiend just jumps in like, oh, somebody left this car, jump in. The minute you jump in, drive away, the windows go up, the doors lock, and you can't get out. Cops are just waiting. If you try to, okey doke them, they were on your rear. What do you do for your Skylines? Because I'm sure there's some type of fear there, although it doesn't happen the way it used to.
So what I do is when I buy one of my Skylines, I have these GPS trackers that use satellite. So basically, it's like really better than LoJack. It actually gives you like really a pinpoint where the car is. So, that goes in, I hide them, of course, in all my cars. Plus they're under surveillance. So, I mean,
there's no, it's a bad day if anyone ever tried.
Yeah. And basically, like, you're not going to be able to even sell any of the parts because all the people that have these cars are all friends of mine. So one of those eyes will definitely see, like, if say one of my parts came up for
community.
sale. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it was back in the day with Hondas, you know, because Hondas, you know, there was so many Hondas, so you wouldn't know, like, oh, is that my part or not, you know?
Right.
So it was very hard to tell, you know. That's why, you know, the thieves would steal these Hondas, because there's so many of them, you know, and people would just buy parts and that's it, you know.
In other words, it's a bad day. I mean, haters, please stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away. I mean, just appreciate, show them love, because one, it's a lot of work, like you said, right? And we put, you know, money into that situation. But more importantly, if you're thinking you're gonna go left and say I'm gonna try, don't do it. Don't do it. I remember when I had mine. I forgot the name of the company. I don't even know if they're still around, but they came out with a sick security system. My boy, who was the one hooking up the car, installed it for me, where it literally, the minute you open the door, put it on the jack, it called me on my cell phone within 10 seconds.
It's awesome.
It was great. Plus the satellite. So it was like, if you happen to somehow drive away with it, I'm following. It's moving like these apps now, but we're talking, you know,
back in the day,
over a decade ago. So that was like, wow, technology. And it was funny because you'll be at a car show or just chilling on the block, and you know who the thief is, but they don't know you know. So you're conversating, they're asking questions, trying to, you know, be a snake in the grass. And that's part of my conversation. Like, yeah, you know, if anyone ever tried, this is what's gonna happen. You have to deal with me. And listen, I'm not 6'8", 400 pounds, but I rather deal with a human rather than like a rodent or something. I am pretty fierce. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we all are taught. We're all crazy to some extent, right? So, I never had it. I never had it stolen. And I mean, I've had cars. I've seen or had friends with like less stuff in the car, and their cars were gone. So, like you said, it ends up in Newark. But that's a funny story. Anyways, so what I wanted to ask you, do you feel and think that this Fast and the Furious is number 9? Do you think that it's too much already? Like, do you feel like there's going to be a number 10, 11?
They gotta do something here, because especially with Paul Walker not being here with us, you know, they really,
Rest in
I
peace.
don't know how they're gonna pull it all together and like put closure for the fans. So like, it's kind of like you don't know like what's next. I wish Fast and the Furious did more of a car scene, like a car culture thing, kind of like the Tokyo Drift, where it's more like, you know, going to car shows, drifting, or something like that, instead of like always like, you know, oh, you know, this bomb, you know, needs to get stolen because we have some, you know, whatever it is, you know, like they make like up some crazy stuff. So like sometimes the movies really don't even make sense, you know, and you're like, you know, this is not really Fast and the Furious. Like, you know, like the first one, Fast and the Furious, they were drag racing on the street, car shows. The second one, the same kind of thing, drag racing, car shows.
They lost touch with the root.
Yep, I think they're losing touch with the root. I think it's like more like an action, you know, instead of like a, you know, a car kind of.
Now, obviously, it's a business for them, right? So do you think that sales would be the same, better, or worse, right? So if they take some of that action out, the car flying in midair, because obviously there's some people that hate that, right? They're saying, oh, that's not realistic. And to your point, they're Fast and the Furious should be, I would say, more realistic, where they can connect with the culture. So I don't know. I think if they find a way to, I think maybe something more, I'm just thinking while we're talking, something more real, like you said, that happens in real life. And it could be the whole stolen car and then one gang after the other gang and one, you know what I mean? Something crazy like that, and it would be nuts. But they would have to take it to like a whole new level, and maybe some guns and people dying and guts flying everywhere. Maybe that's what what they have to do to say, hey, we're gonna send a message if you do something to our crew, basically, right? Yeah. And we're speaking for movies, guys. We're not talking about real life. We're talking about a movie. So I think people like yourself that are very heavy in the industry and look forward to these type of movies. Would you rather see something like that or a car flying from one building to the next? And
I want to see like more realistic, stuff, like something that really happens in the car community, and something like that, like, car getting stolen with maybe something that was in the trunk or whatever, like some sort of twist, they could have worked that, but
then of course have the spouse or the girlfriend, maybe sleep with the rival gangs, like maybe we're onto something.
Right?
Maybe
I know, like now it's just like, I think they just lost a little touch, but I think like their sales is going to definitely go, still be high because they have so much following for, that franchise has such a big following. So, but like what I think is when it comes down to DVD, no one's going to buy that on the DVD or buy it on like their Apple TV because you know what? Like me personally, I want the first 3 because that's more realistic to me, and
right. So do you think that they should put it to a close? Let's say they got realistic. Do you think that they should put it to a close since Paul Walker's not around anymore?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like time, It's like I don't know.
So is 9 too much or is 10? Like it should end at 9 or end at 10?
Well, they are doing a 10, so it's definitely gonna end at 10. But I think they
11's too much.
Yeah, they'll go crazy with that, But they gotta come up with something good, I know the Fast 9. I'm gonna definitely be disappointed. Maybe not with the cars, but like the whole story behind it.
So you're already predicting you're gonna be disappointed?
Yeah, I just want to watch it to see like what cars they feature in the movie and be like, oh, that's sick, But it's nice to have like action, but I want more of that like car culture scene, like from like the first one. That was like. I still watch that movie and I'm like, oh, this is like awesome, you know. Like running from the cops. Oh, scatter, cops.
Right.
Like that's like happening now. Like when you go to one of these full send meets and these crazy takeovers, it's like fun. Like you're in the movie, like from like the first Fast and Furious, like the cops are coming, you're, trying to, get out of there and like run from them and stuff. But, there was actually one story, the cops actually blocked us in a parking lot, and there was a little gap, and I was like, you know what, I'm not getting a ticket. And I was in my Skyline, and I literally just went right through the gap, and a couple, like 2 or 3 cops started chasing me in the car. I was gone, and then like
they were on foot.
They were
chasing?
on foot. I was like, God, I'm gone. And then like a couple people from Instagram was like, dude, that was awesome. You freaking got out of there. They must have gave probably like 20, 30 tickets.
Wow.
So I escaped.
And they're watching you fly out.
Yeah. It wasn't me.
They know
I wasn't driving.
No. Listen, he was not there. His car was stolen that day. They brought it back.
Yeah, they brought it back.
That's nuts. See, that's a movie, man.
But that's what I want to see.
That's real life stuff. That's the type of, I know this is off topic, that's the type of comedy I like. I like comedy that's real. I hate like skit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's me. It's my opinion. But when you go on stage and there's a skit, kind of like the movie where it's just like a storyline, it's boring. Mm-hmm. So I can see what you're saying, when it comes to that. But you get that comic that goes up there and, God forbid, you walked in late. He's going in on you. Mm-hmm. And the whole place is holding their stomach because the stuff coming out of his mind and right off the dome is so creative and real. You know what I mean? And God forbid you're eating something and you're a little bit, overweight. They're going in. I've seen it live. It's hilarious. So a movie like that, and all these Netflix movies that are blowing up, people relate to. I'm not gonna go through the list of them now, but the ones that people relate to are the ones that are going through the roof. I'll mention one. Ozark, I'm thinking like
Ozark, Money Heist. I love Money Heist.
Money Heist is sick.
Dude.
It's like, I guess we're gonna go through some of them, right? And why? Because and then you just watch, and then you just binge watch, and then you just watch, and then you watch, and you can't wait for the next one. And it's and look what's going on with Power and Ghost, and it was supposed to end, and then they brought it back. I mean, how could you stop it? Right? People can relate, So I think that's something we got to talk to some of the Fast and Furious executives and say, hey, people want the realness.
Yeah, like I'm actually excited for this meet coming up, this Tokyo meet that RIX is doing and American Dream is doing, letting us
Never Ride Stock
and Never Ride Stock.
Yes, sir.
All our sponsors that are actually making this happen because I'm gonna feel like I'm in the movie that night. Like,
that's right.
It's like I'm gonna feel like Tokyo, like I'm in Tokyo Drift, and that's what it's gonna simulate. And that's, I wish that's what the movies would, put and make it more like a realistic thing that people could actually relate to.
Well, if you're not going, you have to be there.
Yeah, this
For
thing.
those that are the people that are listening, if you're not going, you have to find a way to be there. Mm-hmm. And if for whatever reason you can't, you're missing a movie. To your point, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. You are missing a real life movie. Go to the Tokyo Meet, May 30th. American Dream, hosted by RIX Magazine and Never Ride Stock. And that is just going to catapult into the next one and the next one. And listen, I'm just throwing it out there now. Next year, we may do a tour across the country. Because we're on the East Coast right now. Mm-hmm. We need a stance on the Midwest, the West, the South, right? The North. And that's going to be huge. But it starts here. American Dreams first. For people that don't know, listening across the country, this mall just opened up, one of the biggest in the country, if not the world, and it's their first car show ever. So we're like,
that's crazy.
We're popping their
Yeah, you guys better behave, whoever's coming to this show. Do not ruin it. Don't do no stupid shit. People like to go crazy, so just keep it,
place
chill.
To have a good time, not show off by acting crazy. Mm-hmm. Let your product show off itself, right? Yeah. And have a good time. Mm-hmm. Be good to people. There shouldn't be no drama so we can move on. We want a reputation. We're bringing this to the culture, right? So we're doing this for the people. It's not for Rico, Rob, me, or you, right? Mm-hmm. It's just for the people. And the only way we're going to be able to do the next one is everyone
has to behave.
It has to behave. Even though we want to create a movie.
I know, it's going to be fun, There's definitely, I invited a bunch of cool guys that are bringing some cool Skylines. So it's not just going to be my Skyline there. There might be a few because I have a couple friends that might come out. So there's going to be definitely like the coolest car selection probably there. And I'm excited.
Dope.
Oh, and also... I'm going to be bringing my giveaway car too, which is a Ferrari F430 Alpha Boost Club right here.
Wow.
So I started a little clothing thing, and when you purchase a T-shirt, just like 8080, it goes into entries, and that gets picked by a sweepstakes company, and then one of you guys could be driving away in a 430 in the next couple months. So
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna bring that there, so you guys will get to see that. I'll bring some merch, so you guys can see some merch while you guys are there. And
I love the fact that you're doing that. I mean, one of the biggest things I think business owners can really connect with that have the right heart is finding a way to give back. So in this culture, You want to give back. Listen, there's people that wouldn't give a Honda. You're ready to give back a Ferrari. Yeah. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, I really hope
thanks.
like someone that can't afford one, or has always wanted this car, wins. Because I definitely want to see someone really have that experience of having a car like that. And it's just an amazing car. So that giveaway is going to be insane. And this is also my first giveaway. So, definitely viewers, go to alphaboostclub.com or Boost Club Giveaway. We're also on Instagram. So, check us out. We have a lot of cool merch. All the stuff is made in the USA. Like nothing's from China. Everything's printed here in New Jersey, like super high quality material. And I wanted, a lot of these companies, do these like shitty shirts, like for their giveaways. Like I want, like this shirt is like super soft, elastically. It's not like one of those Hanes shirts. So like,
a Hollister. Hollister.
Yeah, I use independent.
Nice.
So I use like really expensive fabrics. Just so that like at least like I give the quality to the people. It's not like you're just spending like $30 on a shirt. Like that shirt's a really nice shirt that you're gonna actually be like, wow, this is soft. I like wearing it. I want to wear this shirt. Not like, oh, I bought this shirt just to enter in the Ferrari. So
right.
I wanted to keep that like high par.
You want it to last.
Yeah, I want
You don't want it after the first wash that
it like the thing bleeds or whatever, So
that's powerful, guys. Do what you have to do to enter in to get that Ferrari.
Yeah, it's sick.
Tune in RIX Magazine. Tune in Never Write Stock. Tune in to Mark's Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram's R33 Skyline GTR. Just request me. You reach out to me. I'm a humble guy, so I answer all my messages, people asking questions and stuff. I know like some of these Instagram people, they're like kind of cocky and they're like, I don't want to answer this guy. Like I answer everybody.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time out to do this and give back to the culture. Without people like you, this doesn't happen. This doesn't exist. And we wanted to be an inspiration to the people listening and watching, for them to take their lives to the next level. You're an inspiration to me and those watching. So thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you, everybody who's out there, viewing. Appreciate you guys, and I want to really save this car culture, and I think this meet, especially at American Dream, is going to be huge. So please, guys, do not miss this. Save the culture. Bring your car out. Bring your family, your kids. It's going to be awesome. Plus, they're doing a sneaker thing, so you could even get some. I'm definitely bringing some extra cash for me. Get some Travis Scotts, or something.
There you go. Get Money Kicks is doing a sneaker show. That's going to be very, 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 very powerful. It's just going to be different.
Yeah,
like you said, it's going to be different. It's a movie and in a one-day event, and you can't miss it because it's not going to be the same when someone tells you about it. You have to be there to experience it.
Mm-hmm. And there's a concert too, I think, or like a show, right?
There's so many different things.
Yeah, is going on.
Yes.
So, there's definitely going to be some upcoming artists there. I mean, it's going to be a really awesome event, like an all-day event.
Yep. Thank you all for so much for listening. We'll see you next time.